and welcome to a colossal episode of Adaptations Across Countries. I am your host, Carrie Anderson. Let's talk about crossovers. There is always something fun about a crossover of two storylines and their characters coming together. The possibilities of characters interacting outside of their normal continuity, the potential struggle of new adversaries, and the effects that these characters will have on each other for the rest of their story. And this is of course proven with the success of the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe continuity and the colossal scale of the Monster Universe from Legendary Films. In fact, these two titans of cinema have met a long time ago in the comic book pages of Marvel's Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Now, we've already discussed how Marvel and the Transformers comics came to be, so this is nothing new for the comic book publisher. However, Marvel had a history of adapting movies to comic books with Blade Runner, Logan's Run, and Star Wars. So which Godzilla movie were they going to adapt? Well, none of them. Instead deciding that they wanted to let loose the King of the Monsters onto the Marvel Universe. After securing the rights to Godzilla from Toho Studios, Marvel would assign Doug Moench to write for the project after his various Marvel horror titles. Doug would then be working with artist Herb Trimpe, who had just come from a big run on The Incredible Hulk. An almost perfect fit for someone familiar with massive destruction in their wake. With their talent assigned, Moench and Trimpe were sat down along with Marvel executives for a screening of Toho's latest movie, Godzilla vs. Megalon. In the screening, Trimpe was enjoying the campiness of the effects, while Moench was getting a feel for the direction of the story. But one Marvel executive was audibly enjoying the ride. The then editor-in-chief, Stan Lee. Moench then talked to Stan about the direction of the story, believing it should be just as fun and campy as the current movies so that it attracts the Godzilla audience, especially the kids. Stan approved, saying, "Great idea, go to it!" With Moench settled on the plot, Trimpe set on making the monster. In a heavily Jack Kirby-inspired style, Trimpe designed a large, human-like green lizard with an almost Tyrannosaurus-like head, dorsal plates like his original, and dark red eyes. And this is where I come in for defense. Yeah, the Marvel Godzilla didn't look like the big G we know today, but even the first Japanese manga didn't know how to make him look. Some of them only look like a T-Rex. So, honestly, give the man a break. He tried, and although inaccurate, the visuals are still truly beautiful. In the first storyline, Godzilla has come all the way from Japan to terrorize Alaska. In response, S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Dum Dum Dugan leads a team to try to defeat him. But if you know anything about Godzilla, you know that nothing stops him, because he's a force of nature. After getting bored, Godzilla heads south to Seattle, Washington to take a great bite out of the pie in the sky. Afterwards, he heads to San Francisco to destroy the Golden Gate Bridge and to fight the lesser-known Marvel Heroes team, the Champions. Their leader, Hercules, yeah, if you didn't know, Hercules is also a Marvel hero. It's kind of like a whole thing. He's really good friends with Thor, as it turns out. Their leader, Hercules, tries to save the people, so when Godzilla goes to step on him, Hercules flips him on his back. Damn, bet he didn't see that one coming. It's not until the fourth issue we get what is best from any Godzilla story, a monster fight. And his first fight is against Batragon! Wait, Batragon? Wait, did they just misspell Batra? You know, like evil Mothra Batra? No? That doesn't make sense? Batra wouldn't be in the movies until 1992? Hey, where is Mothra anyways? Oh? The other monsters would have cost more money and Marvel couldn't afford that at the time? Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, imaginary person I repeat exposition from. Now, back in our story, we find out Batragon is actually a pawn controlled by the newly created Dr. Demonicus. an evil geneticist that has manipulated and created giant monsters to take over the world. Man, I wish they used Demonicus more. He's such a cool idea for a villain. Just making kaiju in his factory would be amazing. But of course, when Godzilla comes over, he wrecks his house with a fury. Now Godzilla has to fight all the monsters and S.H.I.E.L.D. at the same time. This is the kind of story I live for. The action and chaos is just, it's so good. Hell yeah! But then, Dum Dum Dugan does the dumbest thing he could possibly do and captures Godzilla. Hey, talk about knocking out a bull and bringing him into your china shop. But this just leads to Godzilla's greatest Marvel rival, the Red Ronin, a giant Japanese robot created in Stark Labs and piloted by Godzilla's biggest fan, Rob Takiguchi. Rob Takiguchi wasn't even 13 when his grandpa built a very big machine. It was designed to stop something big and green. He's gonna stop Godzilla because he's Takiguchi. When it finally worked, the base was hit, so Rob thought he could help Ben pilot it. Then the rockets flashed and from the sky he came. Red Ronin, he had declared its name. Ronin, Ronin. When he first faced off, he realized, here comes a new challenger. Godzilla is getting teamed up, but Rob tries to take on some of the... And the Red Ronin has been decapitated! It looks like Godzilla is on his own, but there's Dum Dum Dugan! It's Dum Dum Dugan! And Agent Gabe coming in for support, distracting the final monster! Godzilla with his own decapitation! This was a real slobber knocker, folks! That was my best JR impression there. And now we take you to what is clearly the best story in the series. The time Godzilla stopped a cattle rustler. Say, where do you think all them cows have disappeared to? My God, look at that Japanese dinosaur. Must have eaten our cattle. I'll help you stop the Japanese dinosaur, but only if you sell me your ranch. Not on my cowboy boots, you shifty-eyed varmint. Alright, boys. Somehow without advanced weapons, we herded Godzilla into that there box canyon. Too bad for you. You won't make it out of this box canyon. Say, why does it sound like a Japanese dinosaur is trying to sneak up on me? Aye! What's this? Godzilla saved my life, found my stolen cattle, and murdered the man that stole them? Well, ain't he just swell? Man, that had to be the most American way you could have written Godzilla. I mean, cattle rustling? I think Munch was having a little too much fun with what he could do with Godzilla, you know? Like, this series really runs the gambit of what kind of story it is. Disaster, monster, robot, superhero, and now a western? I'm going crazy just reading it. I mean, look at this. It's a cowboy riding Godzilla. How do you think of something so unbelievable as that? Eventually, though, we had to come to our final arc, which I like to call Godzilla Lost in New York. I promise, it's better than that other Godzilla Lost in New York. Using technology from Hank Pym, the Ant-Man, now Yellow Jacket, because comics, Dum Dum and Rob are able to shrink Godzilla down to capture, study, and supposedly release him. But when they get to New York, he escapes into the sewer system, where he fights yet another unique enemy, a common rat. Needless to say, rats don't have a good defense against atomic breath, so it was a clear victory for Godzilla. Eventually, Rob finds him, but only just as the shrinking starts to wear off, so he does what any sewer turtle would do, and puts on a trench coat. But when S.H.I.E.L.D. finds them, they try to catch him again, only to lead to a confrontation with Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four. This leads to one of the greatest fights, as this classic team of heroes battles this classic kaiju. But Godzilla returns to his original size in the middle of Times Square, forcing the Fantastic Four to call for help from the Avengers. And now, all hell breaks loose! Godzilla tries to destroy the Empire State Building, but Iron Man is all like, and S.H.I.E.L.D is trying to shoot him down like, and the Human Torch is all like, but the thing blasts it and is all like, it's utter chaos, and I live for this kind of thing. But in the midst of it all, the one boy cries out to Godzilla to stop all this fighting and to peacefully leave as the series finally comes to an end. Supposedly this wasn't intended to be the end, but it was an almost perfect way to send off the King of the Monsters. Toho had increased the licensing rights for Godzilla, which Marvel felt they couldn't afford despite the pretty big success that the series was. But despite that, the characters made up by Marvel for the series were still in their rights. Red Ronin would be used every so often, such as here in the Dark Reign Zodiac comics. However, Rob Takaguchi hasn't been seen since the Godzilla comics. Dr. Demonicus would return in a few issues here and there, but in one issue of Iron Man, it would be implied he had genetically altered and gained control of Godzilla and renamed him Leviathan. Which makes sense. Given the license to use Godzilla had run out, it makes sense that they would try and rebrand him, rename him so that they could use him more often. So how would they make use of this new character implied to be the nearly indestructible kaiju? Well, surprisingly enough, we would see Godzilla in the pages of Uncanny X-Men 506, where Rob's grandpa admits to creating Godzilla, and for security reasons, lets him loose if his research were to fall into the wrong hands. Sadly, this fight is wasted, as Pseudo-Godzilla dies from Archangel like a bullet to the back of the head. Which just frustrates me so much that they killed off their Godzilla like that. This was a beast that could take on Thor's hammer to the face and the entirety of the Avengers, but somehow Archangel alone was the one to take him out. Bullshit. Utter bullshit. It's especially a shame when more than a decade later, Marvel would launch the Monsters Unleashed event, an event specifically made to show off all of their kaiju, and they can't bring back Godzilla because they killed him. Sadly, that's as far as the Marvel Godzilla continuity goes. One big request from the fandom was to see Godzilla face off against the Incredible Hulk. But according to Munch, the artist Trimpe didn't really want to draw the Hulk anymore, almost resenting his work on the Hulk for whatever reason. Though there is at least a commission done by Trimpe for the G-Fan magazine of the possible fight that could have happened in the pages of Marvel. Man, that's a sour note to end on. So here's a cowboy riding Godzilla. Yeah! Ciao, everybody! Hey, thanks for watching. You made it all the way to the end. You must really like this show, and I do appreciate that. Me and Manuel work really hard on this, so you know what would be really helpful in supporting us is liking, subscribing, commenting. You know, comment your favorite Godzilla story. It can be from the movies, from the comics, or maybe some commercials. You know the one I'm talking about. And if you feel up to it, feel free to support us on Patreon, or get us a little coffee. Whatever helps. We appreciate it. And thanks again for watching.